Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. So if you notice that I'm wearing the same thing as my last video, it's because I'm filming it the same day, literally 5 minutes after finishing it. So today I wanted to talk about stan culture, and this is a subject that I wanted to talk about for a long time, even before I created my YouTube channel, because it's a subject that I don't see people talk about enough. When I see people talking about stan culture, I see them talking about it alongside cancel culture, and I feel like stan culture deserves their own video on its own, because there's so much in it, and I feel like people don't really talk about each single point. So I'm like, well, if nobody's gonna make it, I'm gonna make a video like that. I did watch a video, fuck, I don't remember her name, but I watched a video and it was like a whole rant, and I really love it. And she made amazing points, so I'm gonna leave that in the description box so you can go and check it out. So before getting into it, subscribe if you enjoyed this video and follow me on my social media if you wanna catch up with me. If you see me looking, it's because I have my notes and I don't want to forget anything. So yeah, let's get into the video. This video is gonna be probably a rant. I'm gonna try my best not to get angry, but this is something that kind of hits close to home because I used to be in a fandom when I was 12. So I feel like I can give kind of like an inside personal experience with this video, because the videos that I've watched besides hers, I watched Lux Alexander's and Smokey Glows. They made a video about cancel culture, and they talk about stan culture in that video. And the thing is that they talk about it from an outsider point of view, you know, and I feel like you need to be in the fandom to know how toxic it can get, because it's not near as toxic as people think it is, or at least you just don't know the level of toxicity that there is in stan culture. We're gonna talk about the definitions of these terms, because we have fan and fandoms and stan culture, and it's just, I feel like we need to revise what they mean, because I feel like people don't know what these words mean. I didn't know what a stan meant, and I was a bit surprised when I read about it. So all these definitions are from the Urban Dictionary, because it's what I could find the definition. So a fan is a person who has an interest or like something or somebody. So, you know, I'm a fan of Harry Potter. We got that. We know what that means. Okay, perfect. Fandom, an innocent word used for describing a cult of sleep-deprived people who obsess over one or multiple things. You know, like a Potterhead, it's the name of the group of Harry Potter fans, or Directioners, the name of One Direction fandoms. You know what I mean? Okay, are you catching up? Okay. Stan. So this word is very popularized. Like when I was in a fandom, that was from 2011 to 2014, and at that time I had no knowledge of the word stan. So I don't know if it was a thing and I was just unaware of, or if it just became a thing post 2014. But yeah, I didn't know about that word, and I remember hearing it for the first time in 2017, 2018, and I was like, what is that? But because I would hear like, oh, Ariana stands, you know, Ariana Grande stan, and I was like, what? You used to be called Arianators and now you're stan? Like, I thought it was kind of laziness and just meant fan, but in a whole new, you know, like that's how they call themselves nowadays. But a stan is a crazed or obsessed fan. You know, the term comes from Eminem's song called Stan. The term stan is used to describe a fan who goes to great length to obsess over a celebrity. There's another definition that a stan is just mixing a stalker and fan. It's basically a stalker fan. So I think from that definition we can tell that a stan is not a great word to be described by. I wouldn't proudly call myself a stan. I think people that call themselves a stan, they don't know what the word means. They think that it's just, like fan, just something very innocent, something to call yourself when you admire somebody, or just now we know the difference about fan and stan. Fan, normal; stan, crazy. My experience in a stan culture was from 2011 to 2014. I think from that time stan, you can guess who I was a fan of. I was a fan of One Direction. I was a Directioner. Oh my god, okay, let's I think I can make a video about my horrible nightmare experience in that fandom, but that's just for another day. If you want to hear my very detailed experience, please let me know down below. I'm just gonna talk about some points and stuff that happened. I left not because I didn't like One Direction anymore, or because I didn't like the music anymore, because I did. It was a very heartbreaking at the time decision that I had to make to leave the fandom. The reason why was because of the fans, it was because of the fandom. It had nothing to do with One Direction. I was such in a bad place in my life, and One Direction kind of gave me happiness. The fandom made the whole experience worse for me. I was 11 when I started in the fandom, and this is something that is not talked about. This is my experience in One Direction. I don't know other fandoms, but I can assume that at least at the time, all fandoms were the same, like Believers and all of that. When you tell someone from the same fandom that you are a fan, when you, in my case, Directioner, when I would tell someone that I was a Directioner, and they were a Directioner as well, they quiz you. Why? I don't know. So you had to know everything. You had to know their birthdays, which now it's literally, I know their birthdays, even though I don't care about their birthday. I don't even know all my friends' birthday. I had to know exactly which city are they from. I had to know their parents' name. I had to know the entire family's name. I had to know where they were every single day. I had to know every single song from every album. I had to watch every single interview and understand every single inside joke. If I didn't, I wasn't a fan. So obviously, me, 19-year-old, I'm like, bitch, no, fuck you, basically. But me being 11 at the time and looking for fitting in a place where I didn't fit in, it was something that I had to do. I was like, I have to know everything. I have to. And that was something that is so normalized. You had to know everything, know where they are every single time. And you had to know about it was a fucking nightmare, okay? I left the fandom because it was toxic. It was a place that I no longer wanted to be part of, even though I still wanted to listen to One Direction movie. And that also affected me, because when I left the fandom, I was like, I'm gonna still listen to One Direction because I want to support them still. But the fandom destroyed that experience for me, and I sort of couldn't enjoy One Direction anymore. I mean, other issues that I'm not gonna that I'm gonna try my best not to mention, because I don't want people hating me this early on my YouTube career. Something with a stan culture is that you need to be careful you expressing your opinion, because if you say Ariana's music, anybody's come at you and I hate you and fill you in hatred, and because you feel this kind of obligation to defend the person that you are a fan of. You feel this obligation to defend Ariana Grande, even though she's never gonna know that you're defending her. Like, they don't need you to defend them. They don't even know that you exist. So shut the F up. It's just, when you're expressing your opinion, as long as, being respectful and not saying, oh, I hope they die, or it's such a piece of shit, When you're being respectful about it, like, yeah, I don't like them. People need to understand that we all don't think alike, and we can have different opinions, and it's okay. Something that really annoyed me while being in the fandom is that there were a few things that I didn't completely agree. Expressing that you don't like what they did, or that you don't think it was okay, while still being a fan, it's totally acceptable. I remember I said something about, I think it was James Sharp back in 2018, you know, before the whole scandals. I remember I said something, I was like, you know, I love you, I'm still a fan, but I don't agree with you in what you say here and there. And I remember like people came at me saying like, oh, if you're a fan, you wouldn't say those type of stuff, you're just being a hater, you're a fake fan, blah blah. You know, you can be a fan and still hold that person's accountable. You can still be a fan and disagree with the artist, with the celebrity. You can disagree with whatever they say. You can not like or and not support the action that they made, whatever they say, whatever they're doing. You can still be a fan and disagree, and it's okay. You don't need to be an ass kisser, and that is just all of them. You see when Shane Dawson and Jeffree Star, you know, I still don't know where I stand with Shane Dawson. I know where I stand with Jeffree Star, but with Shane Dawson I'm still a little bit ish about him. But it's just, there's so many things that I'm like, I disagree, I can't support. People turn a blind eye because, you know, they still support that person. I want everyone to know that you can disagree with someone and still support them. The real fans, the real friends, are the ones that tell you when you fucked up, are the ones that tell you when you did something wrong. Not the ones that are always there for you. Even, you know, you kill someone, they're like, oh yes, you killed someone, it's totally fine. No, the real friend, real fan is gonna go to you, hey, you shouldn't have killed that person. I, for instance, appreciate, you know, the friends that I have that tell me when I did something wrong. When they tell me, hey, you shouldn't have done that, and you need to fix that, you need to apologize, you need to, you know, I appreciate the people that tell me that. And the ones that stick with me no matter what, and they don't tell me when I'm wrong, those people, for me, they're not really friends. My next point is chips. I think chipping, it's totally fine when you do it with fictional characters. It's totally fine to chip Harry Potter and Draco Malfoy. Totally fine to chip Blair and Chuck, Elio and Oliver from Call Me By Your Name. I think it's totally fine to chip Bucky and Steve from Marvel, because those are fictional characters. Those are people that do not exist. Those are books, are movies, TV shows, that it's completely fine because those characters do not exist in real life. But when you go from, you know, chilling Draco and Harry to chipping Daniel Radcliffe and Tom Felton, or Stephen Bucky to chip Sebastian Stan and Chris Evans, there's something wrong with that, because those are real life people, and I will never be okay when people chipping real life people. And that's one of the issues that I have with the One Direction fandom. I think it's something so toxic, and you're messing with people's lives. That chipping that you think is so innocent affected their friendship. I also don't understand why there's this fascination of bands, you know, girl bands, boy bands, whatever band, to, you know, I don't understand why fans have the need to chip, you know, two band members and to think that they have some kind of secret forbidden love gay relationship. I just don't understand why. Like, is this just fantasy? Like, are you reading too much Wattpad? Is that what is happening? I just don't understand. I've never understood what's that fascination that people have when chipping two band members, and to that extent. Like, you can like their friendship and be like, oh my god, I hope they always keep being friends and stuff, but sometimes people take it to the next step, to the next level, which sort of end up destroying the relationship, the friendship that they have. And here's the thing, this is not me saying, oh, I hate Lou and Harry being together. You know, if one day they come out and say, oh yeah, everything is true, okay, I support it. I just don't like the harassment that they've gotten over the years, just because, you know, they had this really close friendship that for some people looked like flirting, but I guess we will never know. Now to fan fiction. I've never been a fan of fan fiction, not when I was younger, and still not. History with fan fiction has never been friendly. I've never been a fan of fan fiction. just never got into it. I thought it was boring and toxic and abusive and not appropriate. Guess I wasn't too far off at the age of 12. I've never been a fan of Wattpad. If you don't know what Wattpad is, you're so lucky. How do I describe fanfiction? Fanfiction is, someone writes a story about, based on something, and, it's called fan because it's written by fans and just, yeah, it's a story created by a fan. There's a lot of fanfiction of Harry Potter and Draco Malfoy. A lot of fan likes to fantasize over the fact that they had a gay relationship, which honestly, when I read the books, I was like, I don't see it. I already knew about that ship before I read the books and even watched the movie. And I was like, I don't see it. But I guess some people did. That, I don't think is wrong. I don't think it's wrong. You can do whatever you want with fictional characters. What I have a problem with is when people write fan fiction about real life people. Now that's when fan fiction becomes an issue. And I think that's why I was never big on fan fiction. The first time I found out about fan fiction, it was with One Direction. So I was not a big fan of fan fiction because I was like, I don't want to fantasize about real life people. I don't want to... And because everything was really abusive. Same like it's my brother and they have sex. One Direction kidnapped me. Or do we talk about... Yeah, we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna talk about After. I can make a whole video about After and how much I hate that book and that movie. And I just don't understand. If you don't know what After is, you're the luckiest person alive. After is a fan fiction about Harry Styles. So my issue with After is that it glorifies and romanticizes. If you go on Wattpad, you're gonna find, romanticization and glorification of toxic relationships, toxic behavior, bad behavior, sexual assault, incest, even rape. I'm pretty sure the people that go on Wattpad are younger than 16 and they're reading stories about these problematic situations where they're glorified. I'm not saying these things only happen in Wattpad because read Twilight, read 50 Shades of Grey, but that doesn't mean that it's okay. And what annoys me about After is that, it was based on Harry Styles, a real life person, and it portrays him in a horrible way. I don't understand how an editor, an adult, saw that book in Wattpad, read it, thought it was worth the money to put into a physical book. And it's not just one book, it's 4 books. The editor thought that it was a brilliant idea to make it into a physical book, an actual real life book. And then someone thought that it could be an amazing idea to make it into a movie. Am I the only one seeing the issue? Fan fiction, it's totally fine for fictional characters. For real life people, it's not okay. You can do whatever you want with Hermione and Draco. If you think they have the chemistry and the potential to be canon, fine. But fan fiction about Emma Watson and Tom Felton, I don't think that that's okay. We think that these people, celebrities, artists, actors, we see them, we think that we forget that they're human beings, that they have feelings, that they're not robots, they're just they're more than just someone on our computers and our phones. They're real life people with feelings and with struggles. So I just don't think that it's okay to, chipping and creating fan fiction based off on them, about them. And it's just disgusting. Is the stan culture really toxic? Because that's something that has been thrown out a lot, like, oh, stan culture is so toxic, oh my gosh. I do think stan culture is toxic. I do not see how a stan, someone, stalker fan, someone that is obsessing about someone, I don't see how that it's not toxic. It clearly is a problem and it clearly is toxic behavior. So yes, I do agree, stan culture is definitely toxic. What I don't agree with, it's just because of some bad apples or some people, like for example K-pop stans, I see a lot of people being like, oh my god, K-pop stans, they're so fucking crazy and they're so toxic. I can agree with that. You know, I do think that there's some bad apples and some very, very, very toxic people in that fandom. Whenever someone died, they put the typical fan cam and be like, oh, maybe if they stand this person, they would still be alive. I think that's problematic. But there's problematic people everywhere. And I don't think that just because somebody did something, everybody should be billionized because of that. You know what I mean? I just think that, you know, we shouldn't generalize everything, that we shouldn't just call everyone name just because someone did something. The stan culture is basically a cult, and there's no cult that is not toxic. I definitely do think that there's some people, not everyone, but there's some people that kind of help fandom to behave a certain way. For example, Jeffree Star. I definitely, the way he portrays himself online, the way he says a lot of things, it's kind of a way to, you know, he's a little of his own cult, and people hear what he has to say and people behave that way. Sometimes some people, some celebrities do shape their fandom to be in a certain way and to behave that way. I don't know, sometimes a fandom can be the reflection of the person. The more problematic the artist is, the more problematic the fandom. But I wouldn't say that celebrity is completely the reflection of the fandom. I think I'm gonna leave the video like this because I don't want this to be too long or too much of a rant. I can definitely make more videos about this, and if you want me to make more videos about this, if you want me to talk about, you know, my experience when being a directioner, and to go more in depth on why I left and just how my whole experience was, and if you want me to talk about more about my stance on shipping and fan fiction, I can also make another video about it with more detail on it. But, you know, let me know. I hope you enjoyed this video. Feel free to leave your opinion in the comment section below. I appreciate seeing other people's point of view, and, you know, let's have a nice, respectful debate in the comment section. Respectful, please. And yeah, subscribe if you enjoyed this video and like it, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.